This episode of the Cinema Psycho Show is sponsored by Manscaped. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code CINEMA20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code CINEMA20 at manscaped.com. Did you just make Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, and The Birds in the same universe?
Sure did. Here's what I think that happened to Melanie. She was so traumatized by these birds that after she left Bodega Bay, she lost all sense of herself. Mitch left her, and that left her so broken she became homeless and moved to New York City, where she became one with the pigeons, cutting herself off from the rest of the world, only for a precocious 9-year-old boy to show up one day, and she had to help him by throwing birdseed on 2 bandits that were going to kill him in Central Park, saving that young boy's life.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show, the madhouse for film freaks and film fans of all types. I'm your host, Brian Kindage, and my fellow co-host and filmmaker, John Woolscroft.
Oh boy, I can't wait to start talking about this documentary on the family of Larry Bird.
Is that what you think this is?
It's not. Oh, see, I thought I might have made this mistake.
The birds, like, oh, it's a family of them, and they're
Well, yeah. Well, okay. Well, actually, I'm sorry.
I don't think that's
just to
what
be
this
safe.
is.
I watched that movie where Robin Williams and Nathan Lane are gay.
Birdcage.
That's
classic. That's not it.
Okay. Well, I watched that movie where Michael Keaton is in his underpants in New York City, running around, and then bunch of long takes. Emma Stone.
Birdman. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't
none
think
of these.
That's
No.
Mm-mm.
Son of a biscuit.
It's not The Birds 2, the sequel that does exist. It's not that one either.
Oh, yeah. That came out not that long ago. Vinegar Syndrome and all their classiness, right?
Yeah. No, this is The Birds from 1963. A classic, if you will. I have problems with this movie. If you've been following us during the whole month of Hitchcock, you know that Brian's got problems with Alfred Hitchcock. And I've mentioned it a couple times on the show that he's kind of a dick and kind of a chauvinist and a not too nice person to a certain Tippi Hedren. And that was in this movie that we're going to be reviewing today. John, what are your thoughts on that whole thing?
I have to constantly remind myself that this is 1963 for a variety of reasons with this movie. Mainly the interactions between men and women, how people behave, the underlying chauvinism, but also on the completely other end of things, I have to remind myself that the bird effects aren't going to necessarily hold up. And that's okay. They did the best they could. I mean, this is Alfred Hitchcock. He's going to get the best people and the best budget, but they did the best they could.
I'll be the first to say that it's been a long time since I've seen this one. So thank you, John, for having to reintroduce me to all of these Hitchcock movies that I either didn't see or didn't want to see. But yeah, The Birds, it's just our initial thoughts on this. I mean, it's a classic for a reason. It's definitely terrifying. But it is also one of those things, for me at least, and I know we'll talk about this, where I still can't separate the real trauma that Tippi Hedren had to go through to make this movie. Like that's part of it. And so the scene, of course, that we're going to get to later in the movie, which is the most climactic scene, which is, of course, Melanie Daniels getting attacked by birds. That just saying it right off the bat, that was real. That wasn't fake. She was really attacked by birds. And, yes, there were fake things. And then, yes, there was, the VFX, if you will. But there were some real birds attacking her. And that was because Alfred Hitchcock, allegedly, because Alfred Hitchcock wouldn't, he was rebuffed by her.
And I'm sure, not to be too personal for Hitch here, but I'm sure his dick wasn't working anymore. It was kind of like a Jabba the Hutt thing. He liked the idea of her and he wanted her to want him, but it's she can be in a gold bikini chained up, but he ain't getting on top of that. Good evening.
I love how you compared Alfred Hitchcock to Jabba the fucking Hutt. I just absolutely was not expecting that. But we're gonna get to all that. So, well, first of all, John, what are your initial thoughts on the birds? What are your initial, before I get into like synopsis and all that stuff, what were your initial thoughts of the birds? Like your initial, like, hey, I the first time I watched this.
I think that this is, and I don't want this to sound, because Hitchcock is one of the most groundbreaking filmmakers of all time. So I don't want this to sound too dismissive, but he really is the thinking man, Zack Snyder, especially as his career went on. He it's all style over substance. Like all the characters are wooden, basically unbelievable. You don't necessarily care about any of them outside of them being attractive. But it's just like, look what Hitch can do with his camera. Look what he can do with editing. Look what he can do with timing and suspense. It's like, just look at the visuals. Just look at the pretty bird. Look at the pony. Look at it's just, yeah, style over substance. But man, does the guy know how to work a camera and to work a camera angle and to work an edit for perfect tension and suspense.
He knows how to work an audience. Like that's the one thing I would give Hitchcock, is that no one can say the man doesn't know how to work an audience and know how to inflict terror and suspense and really drive them up. So I will always give him credit for that. But yeah, I mean, watching this, I mean, I'll be honest with you, there were moments where I was nodding off because there's no music in this movie. And like, I think for modern audiences, it's kind of a shock. Like you're literally just watching people dealing with birds for about 30 minutes. I say about 30 minutes because for about the first 2/3 of it, it's mostly a romantic, like, not even comedy, but like a romantic type drama.
Yeah. Rat-tat-tat.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's the problem when your characters aren't overly interesting. And I didn't think the performances were all that strong either, is that you need to set up your characters, your setting and everything before the birds go crazy. And if you don't find that interesting, like it's at least 1/3 of the movie's runtime before the birds start like absolutely losing their mind.
I say it's more. I say it's more
Maybe
than that.
50%.
No, it's at least 2/3. Like I really believe it's 2/3, because it really isn't until like you get moments in the movie like where the bird like hits Melanie when she's on the boat coming back from her sneak attack, dropping off of birds at another man's house that she just met a day before.
Well, her in the school.
Don't get me started on that. We'll get to it, but I want to hold off on that part because I got a lot of problems.
Well, and we have the when she's hanging out with the school teacher, what I call Mitch's ex and Mitch's.
It is Mitch's ex. It is.
Yeah, his ex is meeting his sex,
Yeah.
and a bird smashes into the door, and they're like, "How did it lose navigation on such a full moon night?" So yeah, there's like underlying.
But there's like little one here and there, but it isn't until the birthday party when they all kind of go fucking nuts that it but that happens again like 2/3 into the movie. So there's a whole lot of nothing before that. And you could say, well, it's setting up these characters. But as you just said, John, like the acting in this is pretty wooden. The dialogue in this is pretty wooden. I mean, you don't really care about anyone in this, except maybe like, Kathy, the little kid, because she's a little kid.
Well, here's a fun story. Kathy is actually played by Veronica Cartwright, who we may all know as the only other woman in Alien.
Oh, her face did look familiar.
Yeah,
her like it was the crying face, because that's the same cry face when the alien, like
it's often people in the ducks and shit.
Well, often her.
Yeah,
and gets it in the worst way. If you haven't seen Alien.
One thing I would say is that like Hitchcock does benefit quite a bit, like say from Psycho or Rebecca or any of his films that are based on books, because the authors actually can write interesting dialogue or interesting back and forth. I read as part of school the short story The Birds, and to say it has little to nothing to do with this movie other than birds attacking would be an understatement.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that was on purpose. I don't believe that Hitch was trying to stay faithful to the original. Like that's not the man's style, you
Right.
know?
And apparently the original short story was kind of an allegory for the rise of Nazism, and Hitchcock's is about the nothing. It's it's the
It's about the nothing.
it's the thinking man's the happening. Okay. Nature's attacking. Why? I don't know. And then it stops. Why? I don't know. Scary.
The thinking, I love that. It's like, it's about nothing. We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. You're not supposed to know. All right. Well, before we get into the meat and potatoes of this, let's talk a little bit about synopsis. So, if you haven't seen The Birds, okay, the synopsis for this film is: a wealthy San Francisco socialite pursues a potential boyfriend to a small North California town that slowly takes a turn for the bizarre when birds all of a sudden begin to attack people.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
That sounds about
adds
right.
up. Yeah.
Yeah. I love how it's like the wealthy socialite pursues a potential boyfriend, because this is the epitome of stalking.
Mhm.
Right?
Oh.
Like, I'm not wrong in saying that.
And I love the idea of like a potential boyfriend. Why? Because they're both good looking people.
They're both
Yeah.
ridiculously good looking, and they met in a bird store, you know. Like, I love that. Like, it's like, why are these people like attracted to each other? Well, they're ridiculously good looking, and they happen to go to the same bird store. And let's be honest here, Mitch kind of was like, on the prowl for women. That's what the man does.
Yeah. Yeah. When he's not having 8 martinis with the boys at the club, he's on the prowl for the ladies. But yeah, they had a nice like coquettish conversation around some lovebirds. And I love that her solution is, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna force this man to have pets that he never asked for, and I'm going to break into his home and leave them in there. And that is flirting, apparently. Because I guess like when they left the place, she had to change her panties, and he had a little premature ejaculate spot on his nice khakis. So she figured, well, we both got all stirred up, so I'm gonna buy him a pet he never asked for and break into his home and place it there.
Now, before we really get into the plot of this, like, we obviously do the synopsis.
Before we get into Mitch's meat and potatoes.
Mitch's meat and potatoes, or Weekend at Mitch's. That's the other thought. I was like coming up with like, what is the title of this episode going to be? Is it going to be just The Birds, or Melanie Daniels, crazy, that sort of thing? No. We're going to call this Weekend at Mitch's. But I do have a couple of reviews that I wanted to share with you. These are very fun. Of course, they're bad reviews. Okay, so let's take a look at the first one here. And you have no idea what these are, right, John? You have never seen them?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's go to the first one here. This is like Birdemic shock and terror, but without a powerful message about global warming and sex scene. Would not recommend.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm sorry, Birds does not have a sex scene. We don't get Tippi bent over the counter during a bird attack. But I love how the idea that Birdemic would even exist without this movie. That'd be like, Scream is like, or Halloween is like Scream, but like without Ghostface. Wow.
Yeah, I saw that one, and I'm just like, really. I find it. I got one thing that I do find hilarious is that literally Tippi goes from, hey, I've been stalking you, and yeah, I kind of like you, but I kind of don't, and over the course of maybe half an hour, then becomes, I'm gonna eat your face. So like that part I did find kind of funny, is like literally they're like making out over the course of one scene.
Yeah, and I'm sorry that in 1963 we couldn't have a sexy time scene.
No,
You
they
can
wouldn't
barely
allow
show
that.
a toilet, let alone sexy time.
No, they wouldn't
Yeah.
allow that. All right. So, review number 2. Let's take a look at what we got. Horrible. Most infuriating movie I've ever seen.
Wow.
I can't stress how much I hate this movie. Want a movie about birds attacking people? Too bad. Here's a weird guy who has a suggestively incestuous relationship with his mother and a leading woman who's aware of this but still loves him.
Oh, well, I mean, you might not be wrong, but I don't know if the movie was really trying to infer that.
Reviewer, are you suggesting that Jessica Tandy and Mitch want a piece of each other? Is that what you're suggesting?
Just a 4-way all around with the school teacher, our leading lady, and his mom.
I mean, here's the thing. It does feel a little strange. Like, and one, Jessica Tandy and Rod Taylor, I know they're supposed to be mom and son, but like Rod Taylor does look closer to her age than Tippi Hedren and Rod Taylor.
Yeah, this is the 60s. Like, they're going to get some like 50-year-old dude who's supposed to be like a young, strapping man about town, but they're going to actually get a woman who's in her 20s and then the guy the woman that's going to play his mom is going to be like 7 years older than him.
Well,
we got this in North by Northwest.
Yeah, I was going to say this was similar to North by Northwest. The only difference is that this time, like, you know, Jessica Tandy is like, hey, yeah, I don't want any woman with my son, which is weird.
No, I'm in. maybe still got Psycho residue.
Well, you know what? That's a good point, because Psycho again does the same sort of thing. But yeah, I get that, and I get where this reviewer is coming from. I don't think it was intentional, but just it is a little disturbing.
Maybe it says something more about you, Mr. Reviewer.
or Hitchcock. You know, he could be subliminally put this in. You know, he did that with Psycho. Maybe he did it with this too. All right. Let's go to review number 3. The scene where the birds, trademark, were swooping down and attacking children was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I feel like I should feel bad for laughing at children's pain, but this movie was fucking shit, so I don't in the slightest.
Okay, the first part, I absolutely agree with that. I think it's hysterically funny when the little kids are getting attacked. But I don't think the film's a giant piece of shit or flaming piece of shit or whatever he said. So can't agree with you.
Let's go back to it. What did they say? They said fucking shit, not
shit.
flaming shit. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I can't agree with you on that. But yeah, I do laugh when the children are being attacked. I think, and not because like I'm just getting some sick, like perverse pleasure out of children being like hurt. I think it's just because it looks so bad. Like it doesn't hold up. So
I find it funny. Yeah. Like I mean, I'll be the first to say it. I think that it's funny because it's so ridiculous and over the top. I mean, that's the thing here is that yes, it's sad that children are being attacked, but at the same token, it's funny seeing these over the top birds and these clearly like mechanical ones like pecking at some kids. Like there's a shot where a kid falls on the ground and there's this little puppet bird like just pecking at her head. And I'm sorry, it's funny. Maybe I'm a terrible person. Probably am, but it's hilarious. And as you said, John, like the visual effects of this make this ridiculous and over the top.
Well, there was like early to mid 2000s, there was a Saturday Night Live sketch called The Falconer. And it was about Will Forte played a character like where he had he lived in the woods with his pet falcon, and he would get in a situation where he would be stuck under like a log, and the falcon had to go and like save his life. But the falcon would waste time like drinking, playing billiards, and getting in knife fights before it finally came with like the absolute least amount of effort to get him out of something. But that puppet falcon kind of looks like most of the birds in this movie, and that's supposed to be for comic effect, you know.
Yeah. I get why this reviewer is finding that funny. Now, I don't think this is a shit film by any stretch of the imagination. I'm agreeing with you. I think that it is it's not perfect, and there's a lot of things that don't make this movie perfect. but I wouldn't call it fucking shit. That's
You have-
too far.
Yeah, you have to take movies in context of when they came out too. Like I don't know anybody that watches, From the Earth to the Moon, and goes, these special effects don't hold up. The moon doesn't have a face. This is bullshit. It's like, give him a break.
Wait a minute. The moon doesn't have a face? Are you for real?
And it's not made of cheese.
It isn't?
No, it's not my genitals after Mardi Gras.
Your genitals are made out of cheese?
Well, looks like cheese.
Oh, shit. All right, let's get to our last bad review here.
All right.
This one's a doozy. I'm going to warn you ahead of time, okay?
Mhm.
This one, oh boy, how bad this movie has aged. It didn't get interesting until the birds really started attacking, which is what this movie is about. But it doesn't start until the second half. And when it does finally start, a lot of the sequences are hard to watch. And I could understand the outdated VFX, but what's with the makeup? Didn't buy. The reason Melanie went... Okay, I'm going to stop there because this is a long one. So yeah, this first part about the VFX being terrible. John, your thoughts?
It's 1963. I think they did the best they could. I find it almost charming, I guess. You have to just find it charming to get through it. I don't know. I don't think anybody else could have done any better with the time, but maybe that speaks to maybe they shouldn't have made a movie about killer birds if they didn't have the technology to do it.
Might be a thought there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get to the rest of this because this is a big one, okay? All right. Didn't buy. The reason Melanie went on her trip is ridiculous. Her relationship with Mitch starts and develops really fast. It's almost as ridiculous. I don't know what she said. It's almost as ridiculous. To what? It just adds up to dumb characters. All right, let's talk about that one. I agree that Melanie Daniels' relationship with Mitch is one of the weakest parts of this whole fucking film. Wouldn't you agree, John?
Yeah, I don't know why they just didn't start the relationship with the two of them being a couple. It would make sense for her to come and visit Bodega Bay, and to be at the kids' party instead of having to force that into the script. Just have them be a couple.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Yeah,
and on top of that, like as I said, like it makes her a very creepy character that she decides like, oh, well, I just met this guy today. I'm going to give him his birds. And I think I'm going to just go drive up to where he lives and then stalk him for about, a good, day and then drop off these birds. But it's okay because I'm super hot.
Yeah. And it's not like it's just like a couple of blocks down the road. She has to take a boat to an island.
Well, other than that, she has to go to the highway. She has to get on the highway from San Francisco to Bodega Bay. And that's like, I think they said at one point it was like an hour and a half or 2 hours. So this woman has to drive an hour and a half to 2 hours to basically play a practical joke, which I don't think it's a joke. Like the whole thing is like, oh, she's dropping these lovebirds off as a joke. It's like, why is that a joke? Like she's including her phone number with him. That's not a joke. That's called I'm stalking you because I want your 3-foot salami.
Well, it's like what Lloyd Christmas did in Dumb and Dumber.
It is what Lloyd Christmas did. You're absolutely right.
I brought you your briefcase back.
It's a Samsonite. I was way off. Hey, fellas, quick heads up from the grooming front lines. Shaving your jewels doesn't have to be risky business anymore. Thanks to our friends over at Manscaped and their Lawnmower 5.0, I got one right here, you can forget about nicking your bits. This trimmer is all about keeping things smooth and safe. So you can trim with confidence. Head over to manscaped.com and snag 20% off plus free shipping with the code CINEMA20. With Manscaped, it's easy grooming and no surprises. John, we've known each other for a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever sliced your balls?
Oh, all the time. I've got very sensitive nads. Let me just
sensitive
put it that
nads.
way. I try not to go down there too much because my balls end up looking like everybody who wasn't Harrison Ford in Witness. Just Amish nuts all the time.
I mean, for me, I have had problems where I literally have sliced down there and it looks like a horror show, and I don't want people's balls to look like a Cinnabites plaything. So we know that dudes get a little heebie-jeebies when it comes to going down there. And if you want to get a close shave, honestly, this guy right here, the Lawnmower 5.0, can do it for you. This 5th generation trimmer features 2 interchangeable next-gen skin-safe blade heads, a standard one for taking a little bit off the top. All right, John's got one right there. And a new foil blade to go smooth wherever your heart desires. I use this one right here because I want to go smooth. With dual LED spotlights, you'll achieve better visibility, making every trim more precise and hassle-free.
You could even shave your balls in complete darkness now if you really wanted to, thanks to the LED light, although I really don't recommend it, but you could.
He's right. Worried you'll make a mess? This bad boy is also waterproof. You can shave in the shower, in the bath, or in the ocean. I don't know why you would shave in the ocean, but guess what? You can. I love this thing because it does come in a compact case, making it really great for travel. Trust me, this trimmer will be your crown jewel's best buddy.
Brian, let me ask you something.
Sure.
Listeners to our podcast, or even viewers now, can they get some kind of special deal?
Oh, they can. You can get 20% off and free shipping with the code CINEMA20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code CINEMA20 at manscaped.com. Show your balls some love and feel free as a dove. All right, so let's finish up this last review here. So this one, the 4 consecutive still shots of Tippi Hedren's face expressing shock after a fire broke out is the pinnacle of lazy acting and directing. Kathy the Kid is the only one with some decent acting out of the bunch. It kept getting worse. God, what an anticlimactic ending.
I couldn't agree more about the ending. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know if it's supposed to or if we're supposed to read into it what we want, but it really does seem like the birds are just this kind of abusive boyfriend who got its abusive rocks off, and it's like, yeah, now you can go now.
It's like, you're good. You're good. Yeah, you're good. We murdered a couple of you, and we pecked a couple of your eyes out, and yeah, you're good. You're fine. I think we're
going to go back to being birds now.
We're going to go back to being birds now. By the way, if you have a bird bath, we'd love some blood in it to bathe in.
Fill the feeders. Fill the bird feeders or die.
Yeah, fill it or die. I mean, we'll peck your eyes out again while you're sleeping. Yeah, I agree with the ending. It just seems kind of like Hitchcock shot his load on everything else. It was like, well, how the fuck do we end this thing? I don't know. Just have him drive off into the sunset. And that's it. Regarding the acting, yeah, the acting is wooden. And it's one of those things where I really think that the acting is just because that's the way Hitchcock is. He just wants his actors to read the lines and that's it, and don't deviate from them.
Well, I think that he's gotten better actors in the past to kind of like cover that. This movie could have used a Jimmy Stewart or a Cary Grant, or a Janet Leigh or Eva Marie Saint, somebody in the like who are better than these 2 performers. Because they just, they're not great. And bless you, Tippi Hedren. I think you got the role because Hitchcock's a pervert. I'm not saying that you didn't do well in other movies. You've had a very successful career, but I don't think that she was ready for this role. And what's it? Well, who plays Mitch? I can't remember the actor's name.
Rod Taylor. Rod Taylor.
Yeah. So I just, A, I don't think it's properly cast, but B, I think as Hitchcock went on, it was kind of like he had George Lucas itis, where it's he's getting older, he's getting fatter, he just wants to sit in his chair and play with his camera, and as long as the people are reading the lines that are on the page the way they're written, he doesn't really care about the performance nuance, because if he did, he'd have to yell cut and get up and talk to the actors. So
very true. Very true. So with those bad reviews, let's move on to a little bit of talk about each one of these characters here. And I want to start off with Melanie Daniels. My thoughts on Melanie Daniels is that, I do think she's kind of a bit of a stalker. And just she comes off as a very naive person who is just literally just driven by like, oh, this was some nice guy that was nice to me and funny for 5 seconds, so I have to go stalk him and get a relationship with him now because that's what I'm used to. She kind of reminded me of like a Kardashian. Like if they were to redo this movie now, it would be a Kardashian who would be Melanie Melanie Daniels. Don't you think?
Yeah. Chloe.
It's Chloe. It's not a Kim. Kim wouldn't be it. No.
Courtney. No, it's got to be Courtney. Yeah.
You think it would be Courtney? Yeah, probably be Courtney.
So I wrote down Melanie's character. Let me see here. Melanie is blonde. Melanie is pretty. Melanie doesn't like having her eyes pecked out by birds. The end. That's her character.
I mean, it's paper thin.
Yeah.
She really likes Mitch. But we don't know why. We really don't know why. All that she has had relationship wise with Mitch is just they shared a very funny, bizarro, flirtatious conversation, which the weird, I've never thought that you could flirt over a bird cage. But here we are.
Yeah. Even Tweety Bird, I don't think would flirt this much over a bird cage.
No.
No.
Have you ever tried picking up anyone at a pet store, John? Has that ever been a place where you've, like, before you were in a relationship with anyone? You ever tried being like, I'm going to go to the pet store and pick up some chicks?
Well, I worked at a pet store, and let me tell you, I've never seen such a flirt-free environment in my life. I've never seen even couples that come in there. They're just like not interested in each other. I feel that like it takes all the horniness out of the room until you get back outside, and then you go to Orange Julius, and then you start like getting frisky under the table. But
is that what you did at Orange Julius?
No, well, ours didn't have any tables, so it would be kind of just perverse waiting in line.
Yeah. There's nothing sexy about a pet store.
No, it smells. It's weird. Yeah,
it always has a smell. It usually smells like dog food and cat piss. So like there's nothing sexy there. So like the opening scene where Melanie and Mitch are like going back and forth over the birds, and Mitch is like, well, I need some lovebirds for my sister, which just sounds really weird. Again, it's like, need lovebirds for my sister. It's her birthday coming up. You're just like, yeah, what kind of fucking line is that? And that's what I thought it was. I'm like, that's a line and a half, dude. That may work at the club, but I don't know if it's going to work on a socialite like Melanie Daniels. But as you mentioned, John, she's kind of paper thin, so of course it works.
Well, as you had mentioned, I feel that old Mitch here is the kind of guy that can stand on the Golden Gate Bridge, unzip his pants, whip it out, and he can tell you not only how cold the water is down below, but how deep.
I mean, he is. This guy is just known throughout all of Bodega Bay as like, oh yes, Mitch, he's got a lot of ladies. He comes here only on the weekends, and he spends the rest of his time in San Francisco as a lawyer. And oh yeah, by the way, he's back in the 3-foot sausage.
Some even say it's more of a curse than anything.
It's more of a curse because everyone just wants a piece of Mitch. Like I don't get it.
It's a party sub, It's like all the women want like a piece for themselves.
I don't get it. Like the school teacher is like, yes. Like when she's regaling how she came to Bodega Bay and literally saying that it was Mitch's penis that got her there.
Yeah.
Like that's a literal a little conversation that she's having with Mitch's new woman, Like,
Sex
oh yeah,
yeah.
it was Mitch. He brought me here, and I just decided to stay here because I wanted to be close to his giant junk. I just want us to be friends. Him and his giant penis.
On hot summer nights, Mitch just flings his dick out the window to keep it cool. And if you wait when he's really in deep REM, you can help yourself. But
Oh, it's so obvious and it's just so ridiculous. And I keep going back to like, did Hitchcock write this, or at least have his writer, excuse me, write this knowing that it was supposed to be a stand-in for him? Like, is this supposed to be him? Did Evan Hunter write this being like, oh yes, Mitch is really Hitchcock?
Mitch is Hitch. Yeah, Mitch Cock.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
there you go. But yeah, that's really all you need to know about Mitch. There's nothing else with him either. He's kind of a mama's boy. Really, really is a mama's boy.
Look, there's nothing wrong with being close to your folks, but like, if you, ladies, it might be a red flag if every weekend a guy you're interested in goes and visits his mom every weekend.
Yeah,
I mean, what is this? Everybody Loves Raymond, like
it is a little strange that he's like every weekend he goes to Bodega Bay. Like, you don't do anything else, and you just, yes, I go to stay at my house up with my mom and my sister. And by the way, I'm 40 years old. It's a little strange. It's a little
and his
weird.
sister's like so young. It's like odd, but
a little odd.
But maybe that's him. Maybe he's playing the long game where it's like none of these women can have him because he's such a mama's boy, and that just drives them insane.
Yeah. But and then let's talk about Annie, the school teacher, Mitch's ex. Oh, geez.
What is there to talk about other than she teaches school and wants, Mitch's sausage,
3-foot sausage?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's really all that you need to know. She comes off as just like, I hate you, but we can be best friends at the same time to Melanie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's such a small island, apparently. I love the idea that in the 1960s, because I think this movie's supposed to be contemporary. I mean, there's motorboats and stuff. It's not supposed to be like 1845 or anything. That they have one school teacher. This isn't like when Ichabod Crane came to town, some 300 years ago. It's why is there one school teacher? I don't care how small the island is. It seems a little
because
odd.
Bodega Bay is an isolated little hamlet. They really refer to it as a hamlet. And yeah, there's not enough kids there to have a full school district full of teachers.
Yeah, they have a Wicker Man celebration there.
It is very much a Wicker Man type deal, or a Children of the Corn type thing. It's very, very much small town. Everybody knows everybody, and a pretty lady coming into town is unusual because really there's only two women that exist in Bodega Bay, and that is Annie and Mitch's mom. That's it. And that woman who calls Melanie the devil. Can't forget her.
Probably because
screams in her face.
Probably because she's sucking Mitch's dick, and she's like, "How dare you? That should be for me."
Ew, gross. Mitch's dick is the mayor of Bodega Bay.
When they have the parade.
Or it's like Quato in Total Recall. It's sentient.
Well, see, when they have like the 4th of July parade, when Mitch's dick is mayor, like, and when it drives by, he just lies down and his boner just sticks up. So it's just literally like his dick, like waving at people,
It's the worms in Dune. It's just a giant sandworm.
You haven't entered manhood.
Shai Halud. That's what it is.
You don't enter manhood in Bodega Bay until you successfully conquer and ride Mitch's dick.
That's what every sailor has. What were we talking about again? Oh, the birds?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a terrible love story back and forth that is completely unbelievable. And then we get to the actual birds, because they're a character in this movie too. And the birds are terrifying. Like I'll be the first to say this, that, watching this movie, I found that every sequence that the birds were in there, even though it's kind of hokey and you can tell that some of them are puppets or mechanical, what the birds are doing is pretty scary. If you just take away the hokiness of it and take away the bad visual effects. If you really think about it, you're just like, these birds are just coming out of nowhere and just fucking pecking people's eyeballs out. clawing up people and just attacking. And it is a little on the disturbing side, at least for me, I felt. John, what about you?
I agree completely. I think it's because while we see birds as pretty much tame creatures, it's not like Jaws. Everybody who's already has a fear of sharks. A grizzly, like people are afraid of bears because they can be very dangerous animals when provoked or threatened. But birds don't really seem that way. I mean, there are people who are professional bird watchers. They just love it. Like, ooh, look, a cardinal or a blue jay. But it is one of those things that people do get freaked out if like a bird gets in the house. Like all of a sudden it's oh my god, it's the most terrifying thing ever because it's where it's not supposed to be. And I think what this movie is, the birds are behaving not like they're supposed to be. So you take what it otherwise is a docile creature and turn it on its head. I think that's what kind of works so well for this.
Well, I think it's also a matter of just like, we look at, cats and dogs, and they have, already like a pet type of vibe. We have that already ascribed to those animals, but a bird, it's not a pet. Like you can obviously have pet birds, but for the most part, they're still wild animals. They still have more wild animal instinct. They're not really totally domesticated, right? They're a bird. They're going to peck and they're going to get scared and they will attack. Like that's the thing that I think is different between, say, cats and dogs and a bird, is that a bird is still very much a wild animal. And like I know there is a fear of a bird like pecking your eye because of their sharp beaks and things like that. So this plays totally into that. And then of course the concept of just like what could cause these birds to just suddenly like freak out. And the movie, to its either detriment or what you might think that it's an awesome thing that does this, never fully explains why the birds are doing what they're doing. Right?
Yeah, and I was going to ask you whether you thought that was to the benefit or detriment, because for me, I lean more towards detriment, because I need maybe just some level of why this is happening. And I can understand some people be like, oh, what I find really terrifying is that they never explain it. You never find out why the birds are behaving the way. And that's what's really terrifying. But I'm like, I don't want everything spelled out for me, but I need a little bit more.
For me, and I totally get what you're saying. For me, I don't hate it completely, but I also, like you, need just a bit of context. So I'll give you an example. And there's going to be a lot of times when we're talking about the bird sequences where I'm going to compare this to Night of the Living Dead, because I think that there are many parallels between Night of the Living Dead and the birds. But one of the things that I love about Night of the Living Dead is that they don't ever explain to you why the dead are coming back to life. It's always left ambiguous, but there are some clues here and there. Like there's a sequence in the original Night of the Living Dead where, George Romero is interviewing a government official and they're talking about how there was, NASA people involved and that there might have been a meteor that fell or a satellite. So there's these little hints here and there that is there something that caused that could be it. It's never fully explained. In this movie, they don't even go that far. It is left completely ambiguous. It's left to be basically like, well, what do you think? I need some more than that. I do think that it also doesn't really give you a complete story, right? Like you need to have some sort of thing that kicks off this. And there's been some theories about this. Some people think that some people have theorized that really it's just that, like I think I read that the original screenwriter was supposed to make it where like the birds were a harbinger against the people of Bodega Bay because everyone had some dark side to them that like was never really explored, but like the birds are judging them. So, but that's never stated. There's nothing that's ever put that out like that. And then there's some people who's like, well, is it Melanie Daniels who comes in here who, she disturbs whatever peace they had? Or are they just going after them because of, environmental reasons? We don't really know. And it, that's a question that basically anyone watching this movie is gonna have that might get in the way of the story, right?
Yeah, and like your comparison to Night of the Living Dead, like we don't have a precedent for people coming back from the dead.
No.
So, even if there is no explanation for it, we assume like they're not going to be here to party. But like birds, we have a precedent for their actions, unless it's like a Doritos commercial with Elvira in the early 90s,
Yeah.
But yeah, with birds, we have a precedent for their behavior. So for them to just so radically change, and then for that to not really be explained, it seems odd. And it really does feel like this movie gearing up for its final act is its ending. It's like, okay, it is now time to escape, but we have to fight our way through the birds. Here we go. And the bird's like, what's up? No, it's fine. Go. You might want to use some premium. That's a high quality vehicle instead of the unleaded. We took a look under the hood. You guys should be good to get out of Bodega Bay. So cheerio. I just like,
yeah,
this should have been the third act. The movie's just over.
Yeah. Leading into that ending, I mean, the birds pretty much just terrorize everyone. And I love how these birds are super strong. Like these birds apparently can peck their way through doors, multiple things of doors, peck their way inside of houses. I mean, these are super birds, if you will. Unusually strong super birds that I just keep going to like, how many times have I had a bird that smacked into a window that's immediately died? But these birds, they give no fucks and can peck through wooden doors. But the biggest
birds,
yeah. But the biggest climax of this movie is, of course, Melanie Daniels going up to the third floor bedroom. This is, of course, after the school teacher has died and he's been killed by the birds. They're back at the house. It's Mitch's mom and Kathy, and they're just kind of just chilling and relaxing, waiting to wait the birds out, because apparently there's this pattern where the birds like attack and then they stop, kind of like giving you a little bit of hope and then be like, yeah, fucker, we're gonna poke your eyes out again.
Yeah.
And Melanie being dumb,
Melanie's gonna Melanie. Yeah,
she's dumb. Okay. Decides that it would be a smart idea to go upstairs, and for whatever reason, like that part kind of infuriated me, because I'm like, what that sound is, right? Like, it's the fucking birds.
If you hear a strange sound, I wouldn't assume that it's old man McGillicuddy butt fucking a coyote. It's probably the birds,
It's probably the birds that you've been dealing with for the past day.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it is. But Melanie being Melanie, she opens the door up and is shocked at the fact that the birds have pecked through the roof and they're all waiting there to peck her fucking eyes out. And she almost gets killed, like very close to death. And this is the scene that I referenced earlier in the episode where those are real birds. Like, obviously they're overlaid with some pre-filmed birds, but actually on set they really did throw real birds at her, and they attached birds to Tippi Hedren via string, so like they're really attacking her. And I think it was I believe she did get a wound by her eye from one of the birds. Like, they did scratch her, so like that reaction that you're seeing there is real terror. Like, it's not fake, which is disturbing. Again, knowing that this was all retaliation, allegedly, because she wouldn't sleep with Hitchcock.
Yeah.
Like, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
And criminal.
Not a good man. Yeah.
and that's why it's hard for me to like this person at all, So, yeah. Fucker.
Well, see, here's what I think that happened to Melanie. I think she was so traumatized by these birds that after she left Bodega Bay, she kind of lost all sense of herself. And then, of course, Mitch left her, and that left her so broken she became homeless and moved to New York City, where she became one with the pigeons, cutting herself off from the rest of the world, only for a precocious 9-year-old boy to show up one day, and she had to help him by throwing birdseed on 2 bandits that were going to kill him in Central Park, saving that young boy's life.
Did you just make Home Alone to Lost in New York and The Birds a connection in the same universe?
Sure did.
I love it. I love it, John. Absolutely love it. I didn't see that coming, but now I'm never gonna look at that movie the same way again.
The 2 turtle doves were the lovebirds.
They were the lovebirds.
Oh, Kevin. She picked up the accent because she kind of lost her mind. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I mean, clearly, let's be honest here. At the end of this movie, Melanie Daniels has fucking lost her mind.
Yeah.
Like she any semblance of sanity is gone when you nearly died from birds trying to peck your fucking eyes out. Like you're not normal after that. And Mitch is probably just like, well, I'm going to go to another pet store after this.
Yeah. I need to tame some new strange.
It's like, it got too real with you, Melanie. I'm sorry. You know, you were hot, but like, yeah, you know, the whole birds thing.
You know, the socialites hang out in the bird aisle, but the real sluts hang out with the lizards. That's where I'm going.
And of course, the lizards attack.
Yeah. Hey,
oh shit!
That's a nice Savannah monitor, isn't it? It sure is. Can I suck your dick?
Oh shit. Well, let's talk a little bit. When we talked a bit about the terrible VFX in this. Do you know how they filmed those VFX, John?
I have a few guesses, but not specifically. No.
So they did yellow screen. Did you know about that? About what that is?
Well, it's just probably
yellow phosphorus. The sodium. I think it was sodium phosphorus screen. Yes. So in at this time period, there was no blue screen, there was no green screen. They use for color film sodium phosphorus. So those birds were actually filmed against a yellow screen, and then those backgrounds that she's driving against, which again, continuing our trek of Hitchcock with his weird like rear projection background driving scenes that don't look at all realistic. We have that in this too, filmed against yellow screen. So, and there was even one moment where you could see through. Like, I don't know if you caught this when Melanie is driving through town and they have that yellow screen behind her, and you're getting the background video. I think you can actually see through her head. I think there's a moment where you can see through her head and it looks phony.
Well, in fairness, that's just because Melanie's that stupid. You could see right through her head.
Oh, come on. I'm not going to say that she's stupid. I'm just going to say that the writers wrote her stupid. I won't blame it on Tippi Hedren. She had a lot to deal with.
No, not tips. I meant Melanie herself.
Oh yeah, Melanie's
method acting.
It's method. Yeah. But yeah, I just found it interesting that they did yellow screen for this and filmed the birds against that, and then I believe they also like captured birds from like junkyards and things like that, and then brought them in. So it's interesting how they got all the birds.
Get them sweet junkyard birds. Yeah.
Yeah. So final thoughts, John, on the birds.
You know, if
our last Hitchcock film,
right? Yeah, it's the end of cock month.
Yeah, seriously.
When I talk to anybody that grew up and saw this in like movie theaters, like some people my mom's age, they said, "Oh, it was absolutely terrifying." And I'm like, "You didn't think it like looked corny?" And they're like, "No, it was incredibly terrifying. Like it worked. I totally bought in." So I think that our generation has been tainted by leaps and bounds, 1,000 times better special effects across the board. You compare this even to something that's now 30 years old, Jurassic Park. And I mean, Jurassic Park makes like the birds, like if Jurassic Park's the sun, the birds is crayons in the sun. So, but I think watch it for, if you're a film person, you want to understand Hitchcock and what he can do with tension, watch it for that. Yeah, if you're here for the characters, the acting, or special effects that hold up to the test of time, it's not going to really be that for you. But watch the scene at the gas station, watch the phone booth, watch the birds gathering in the schoolyard, and just see, like, that's why Hitchcock is so remembered. I think this movie is now remembered more for moments than it is for overall quality, to say like a North by Northwest, Vertigo, or Psycho is.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think when comparing this to modern horror films that this is at all ranking anywhere near there. It has been a long time since I saw this film, so this was kind of a refresh to it for me. I hadn't seen it probably in over 10 years, and I definitely get why it is so memorable. I do think the concept of birds attacking people the way that they do and the way that they're shown is pretty scary. That alone, like, if the scene we didn't talk about, but when all the sparrows like shoot out of the chimney and in the fireplace, like, that's kind of scary that they just all of a sudden shoot out and start attacking. And that unpredictable quality of nature is kind of at the forefront of this. I would say watch this for Tippi Hedren. I mentioned that she really did go through a lot of hell making this film because she wouldn't sleep with Alfred Hitchcock. Allegedly. Just saying that allegedly. Although it's allegedly.
The estate of Alfred Hitchcock, that's, you're trying to make sure.
Allegedly. Allegedly. But I would say, watch it for her performance. This was her first feature film role, really. And it was something that did lead to a career that unfortunately was cut short, allegedly, by Hitchcock, because he said he wanted to allegedly ruin her career. That's how many allegedlys can I throw into a sentence, John?
Hey, you're just being goddamn safe.
I'm being goddamn safe. So, watch it for her career in this, and in what she brings to it. But I mean, it is a movie that, you can watch it once and then be like, yeah, I don't need to watch it again. Because it really is, to say that there's not a lot that happens in the first 2/3, it's true. There's not. The best part is the last 30 minutes or so. Once you get to the last 30 minutes where the birthday party happens, that's really where the movie The Birds begins, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, it was good to watch it. Very unusual that there was no soundtrack in this. I didn't mention that early on in the episode, that there is no music at all. It's all bird sounds and weird things that or created on a synthesizer, which is interesting.
Which is surprising.
For Hitchcock, yeah. Especially because the previous movie he did, Psycho, was all about the music. Like that theme being the big thing.
Well, interestingly, Hitchcock wanted the shower scene to not have any music. And I understand what he was trying to go for there. It'd be more terrifying if we really felt like we were just voyeurs watching a murder happen. But then the composer went off on his own and came back with the violin, shrieking and all that. And he went, okay, you win.
That sounds very Hitchcock. Okay, you win.
Yeah.
But good talk.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad we'll never have to talk about Hitchcock again.
Well, I will say this for anybody that is interested. They made a made for HBO movie about the making of The Birds.
I started watching that before we started recording.
And that's what I would say for anybody. If it's
called The Girl.
The Girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that'd be kind of an interesting double feature to watch The Birds and then watch that right after. So I would suggest doing that.
And it's on Max still. Like I literally was watching before we started recording. But yeah, I would say watch that. And then we already talked about the other one, which I think was called Hitchcock.
Yeah, I think it's just called Hitchcock.
Yeah, it's called Hitchcock.
Yeah, the fluffy one with Anthony Hopkins. Yeah,
the fluffy one where he's not as much of a dick.
He's just a big old teddy bear.
Yeah. But I'm glad Hitchcock month is over. I hope you've all enjoyed this. Do me a favor, if you've liked this sort of stuff, let us know what other theme months that you want us to cover. You know, that would be cool. We're always open to new theme months.
Do we want to let the cat out of the bag? We have one more theme month coming up. Do we want to let the cat out of the bag on that one?
Do you want to do that?
Yeah, we're doing
Schwarzenegger month.
And I just realized, just like Hitchcock month, there is ample room for a second Hitchcock or Arnold month, because so it's just a tip of the iceberg for the Arnie man.
Wait, when are we doing Arnold month again, John? I forget.
I think I should August. Know. I think it's August.
Okay, August. Yeah. Look out for August. August is going to be Arnold month, and oh boy, we've got some plans there. Oh, but great.
I remember my Total Recall. I think that's when the month is.
Oh, Total Recall. Well, with that said, John, where can they find you at on the internet?
Instagram, on Facebook. You can find me over at JDubs Video Nasties over on YouTube. I have my Demolition Man video up, and I'm finishing up my script on Manhattan, the Woody Allen movie. Woof. And so I should be filming that soon, and trying to keep this one a little bit shorter so I can get it out a little quicker.
Sweet. Well, you can, of course, find us. Well, actually, let me do you this favor. If you've liked our Hitchcock month, if you've liked the episodes, or maybe you just, stumbled upon this episode, after the fact, do me a favor and share this with your friends. Like, if you've got friends who are into movies or into this sort of thing, and you think that they would like this podcast, share it with them. You can do that also by going to our website, cinemapsychoshow.com/follow, and hitting any of the follow buttons that are there. You can listen to us on any podcast app there. We've got them for Apple. We've got them for Spotify. We've got them for iHeart. We got them, all of them there. If you're watching us on YouTube, do me a favor. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button. That way, you never miss an episode, and you get to see us every time that we put an episode out. And with that said, we will see you next time.
Brian, I like doing movies about birds. I got what kind of movie should we do next? How about Howard the Duck?
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.